Good afternoon, everyone. Gabe Velazquez here with you, transparenttradesolutions.com on a Friday. Uh, Very muted reaction to today's poor PCE, just kind of chopping around here. Let's get right into the charts again. Subscribe to the newsletter. I'm going to set up another class coming up. Subscribe to the newsletter, but I am going to set up another class, so you can look forward to that. Give me a thumbs up. Put some commentary in the chat. Let's go right into the charts, kind of sum up the week. It's we had some more kind of on a weekly basis. Obviously, there was some selling early in the week. Still kind of undecided. Still at a 5% correction so far. Whether we go to 10%, I've been writing about that. Whether it's a 10% correction taking us all the way back down to maybe 5,100, that would be 10%, by the way. For now, we have a very distinct, interesting. This is speak to the algos really just running the show here. We hit that gap from yesterday, the rollover gap, shot up, gave it all back by the end of the day, and landed there on the close, and then rallied. Interestingly, came right to yesterday's high, and now we're kind of meandering middle of the range here. So I would just say now we've got a pretty, about a 90-point range, and this obviously will get resolved next week. We got all kind of stuff going on next week again. The mega caps, we got Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta all reporting next week. We got a Fed meeting on Wednesday, and we got non-farm payrolls on Friday. So there's going to be tons of volatility coming up next week. But for now, looks like, just very kind of quiet reaction. Just couldn't get any follow through. And again, you look across all the mega caps, they're pretty much tracking this thing. And I think that's part of the reason you can't get NVIDIA off the mat. That I think is one of the issues here. NASDAQ, similarly, we've got a bunch of levels outside of this little range here that we're kind of forming below and above current price. So we'll see. Clearly, we're going to probably try to go for some of these coming up next week, depending on the reaction to the Fed and so forth. Similarly, the NASDAQ just kind of chopping around in here, also consolidating, big, ugly range. We got some levels up top. Russell still looks outperforming. It's kind of forming a big, also big back and forth range. We still have some levels up top here, but nothing, again, just kind of matching the overall markets. Bitcoin seems to me like it's poised to go break out and make a new high at some point. This is worth watching. Setups are going to be a little interesting because we got this gap to fill. We got another little tiny gap. It's failed every single time here around 74K. So probably this time it goes through it. How far it goes above that is obviously unknown. Rates dead, just nothing in 2.5 weeks now. Just rates have just been dead in the water. Similarly, the dollar coiling up, which again, with Bank of Japan coming out next week and all kinds, that's probably setting it for some stuff. Talking about the Japanese yen, been talking about this also ad nauseum. This looks like it may be headed higher, especially if they raise rates, Bank of Japan next week. Swissy also kind of making a move. All the other currencies just kind of dead in the water. Also, we've got some nice moves in the ComDolls, Amazon, Australia. Peso kind of tied to oil a little bit, and New Zealand. So the ComDolls have been somewhat moving. Looks like we don't have any levels on New Zealand, lower levels. So we'll see how that goes. And then similarly, the metals got hit, but they're kind of just hanging around. We got rollover in gold. Looks like 2,400 still holding. And oil, just again, just all over the map here, back and forth. Maybe goes down to 75, who knows? And nat gas just hovering right around $2 as well. So next week looks like nat gas is going to break $2, probably goes to 150. Who knows? It's there's just no traction in that, and it could snap back in a heartbeat. It's very, very tricky. You know, if you try to sell it here, you got turning back. So there's could be some short covering. It's just been a meander, just been a kind of a drift lower, which is really very not, it's not very conducive really, because this could snap back very quickly. It's not kind of like a give up phase where, it just falls off, 30, 40 cents and then recovers. Yep. So that pretty much sums it up. Next week, again, very interesting. All kinds of dynamics happening that are going to move the market for sure. Which direction, still unknown. We're, at TTS, we're positioned neutrally. We're also long a few energy. We're long an energy share, energy stock, BLO, which had an explosive move yesterday on earnings and closing out, I think, relatively another higher level here on VLO. So we're actually long this stock here with some calls, and we're looking to put on a bunch of position next week. So if you're interested in some of what we're doing, just contact me at transparenttradesolutions.com. Support at transparenttradesolutions.com. Okay. All right. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Take care.